be neither graceful nor useful. Well, if you learn to talk to these machines, you can achieve incredible things with them.
It's said that Sally B is the only aircraft that runs on high-octane fuel and 100% pure emotion. It costs a vast amount of money to keep this aircraft in airworthy, so anything you can do, ladies and gentlemen, buy things from their stand. Go and have a walk through later on.
Yeah.
Any money that you can provide to keep her in the air.
And the B-17 made a fortune for Boeing. Coming from the left, listen to the noise of the Daimler-Benz.
That's a sight that the B-17 pilots would not have liked to have seen.
But this was a daily occurrence whenever they were flying over Germany. The German Air Force, the Luftwaffe, it was an incredible mix of high competences. No other fighter pilots during the war. Basically, the fact was that for a German young man to be a Luftwaffe pilot during the war meant that you were going to spend the whole war fighting. While if you were an Allied pilot, you had a number of missions to fly, and after that you would retire, become an instructor, get back home and do useful work. But with the Germans it was different. Some of them started flying military aircraft in 1939, and in 1945, still alive, they were still flying military aircraft. And these little fighters, the Messerschmitt 109s, were simply well, no other aircraft has been built in such numbers in history of aviation. Willy Messerschmitt, who was kind of equivalent of Reginald Mitchell, was obsessed by lightness. He wanted to make very light aircraft, and by simplicity. And the 109 was designed for the ease of production. It was said that to build a Messerschmitt 109 took 3 times less man-hours than to build a Spitfire, because the 109 was it was a modular aircraft, and probably the first one to be designed like that. But one of the results of this decision was that it was a really difficult aircraft to fly. Someone I know said that it's hard to understand how, with such a noise, the engine doesn't blow itself apart on its own. Listen. All of our cars today use fuel injection. The first machine, the first engine to use fuel injection was this engine, the Daimler-Benz 601 V12 engine, and an engine with incredible technology. Fuel injection for one, which afforded the pilots with the possibility to put negative G to their trajectories without having the engine coughing and stopping. Listen again. Look at the wings, they are so small, they are flippers. But they do have some high lift devices on the leading edge of the wing slats, automatic slats which open whenever you're low and you're slow and high angle of attack. And despite the fact that these wings were really small in surface, they would provide lots of lift at slow speed. The problem with the Messerschmitt was that the landing gear was quite strange in that the legs were canted and the wheels were not perpendicular to the ground, and so on landing and takeoff the aircraft would easily swerve one way or the other, and they lost really nearly thousands of aircraft on takeoff and landing accidents. Another thing was that the visibility from this cockpit was absolutely horrendous. Flying it was a magnificent machine, and the top of the top in terms of scorer in fighting aviation history. Hans-Joachim not Marseille, sorry. Leblanc, Chevalier d'Allemagne, what was his name? I'm lost. Anyway, had over 350 victories, all of them on Messerschmitt 109s. He didn't want to fly Focke-Wulf 190s. He stuck to the 109, which also, like the Spitfire, was the only aircraft to be produced from the beginning to the very end of World War II. Of course, with different engines, with different armament, with different systems, but basically it was the same airframe, which was produced in 1945 and after, because the Spanish Air Force used the two of them, which are now being displayed in front of us, are in fact Bouchon's Spanish version of the 109. Well, this one, the 109G model, with the real Daimler-Benz engine, flown by Klaus Plaza, and the aircraft belongs to Airbus, to the Willy Messerschmitt Museum based in Manching near Munich, where they keep Messerschmitt's history alive by having aircraft being flown. They also have a Messerschmitt 262 and will need to have it next year. Whenever you climb into Messerschmitt 109, you are just amazed at the fact that they found young people. You had to be young and brainless to climb in these machines and go fly with them, because first of all, you sit in a reclining seat. The seat is very canted to the rear in order to make it easier to absorb high Gs and harsh maneuvers, and so you sit down looking, your eyesight is beneath your knees, and you have a very strange instrument panel in front of you with strange controls, and you take the hood and it's not sliding, it is hinged on the right side of the fuselage, and you just slam it back and it weighs a ton, and boom, it just fell on you and falls on you, and you have a feeling that this is your coffin which is being closed upon you. 109 was used during the whole war as the #1 fighter of the Luftwaffe. And this one is absolutely superb, including the strange painting on the spinner, the corkscrew spinner. It's a very difficult aircraft to take off and land for any standard pilot. It has strange brakes, and but some people do love flying this aircraft, and the 3 pilots we had flying the 109s this afternoon were Cliff Spink, Field Marshals Cliff Spink, Lee Proudfoot, the man who went to the South Pole, flying twin others for the British Antarctic expeditions. This was in a previous life, and the 3rd one is Klaus Plaza from Airbus. In the sky, another German incredible aircraft, beautiful aircraft despite its looks. Very German, very technological. This is a Junkers 52. This one wears the colors of the Luftwaffe, but before the war it was used as the standard medium and long range transport for an airline called Lufthansa.
I suppose it could be looked at as the German answer to the DC-3.
It was roughly same period. The DC-3 had retractable gear and more sophisticated and American subsystems, while the ju52 was designed for ease. And the thing is that put yourself in at the time flying commercially was not air transport. It was aerial voyage. And you would board, for instance, an aircraft like that in Berlin, in Tempelhof, and magnificent airport with a futuristic and extraordinary terminal. And then you would spend a week, you were flying during the day, made friends with the crew, because it was the same crew taking you all the way, for instance, to Shanghai. Look at that. Red 7. Look at the cockpit, at the frame. Want to see a fighter? Look at the Messerschmitt 109. And so the Ju52s from Lufthansa, by the way, was created before World War I. The name of the company at the time was Delag, and they were using airships. And they carried more than 50,000 passengers before 1914 and World War I without losing one of them. And then after the war, the airline was started again under the name Lufthansa, Deutsche Lufthansa. And until 1939, the Ju52s and the Dorniers were seen all over the world. And then during the war, the Ju52 was again used as the standard transport aircraft of the Luftwaffe. But when you look at it flying downwind, look at the speed of this aircraft. It's a big target, slowly moving, and the Ju52 crews were seriously bold and courageous, because they were easy meat for any type of fighter. And there were horrendous moments for Ju52 crews over the Mediterranean, for instance, when they were trying to keep the Afrika Corps alive by ferrying equipment and crews across the Mediterranean. In Battle of Stalingrad too, they were widely used and shot down. But anyway, they did their job, and they were real. Look at the speed. Above us, explaining why the Luftwaffe was so efficient. The aircraft are only part of the equation. The other thing is that you have to have pilots. And Germany, after 1930, Germany started refabricating a population of airmen, pilots, mechanics, engineers, and they were really, really well trained. In fact, in Germany during the 30s, flying was a sport organized on a national scale, and for instance, aerobatics were a must. And so specialized aircraft like this one, like the Bucher Jungmann, were designed. Reenacting what one could have seen in the during the Berlin Olympic Games in 1936, where aerobatics were pre-Olympic sport. Anna Walker, the only girl flying this afternoon for us, Anna Walker in a Bucher Jungmann, doing some 1935 vintage aerobatics, which are smooth but precise, and to explain to explain why the Luftwaffe was in fact so efficient. Just talking about aircraft is not enough. Aircraft engines, airframes is not enough. You have to talk about the pilots. And the German pilots were really beautifully trained until the middle of the war, where things changed and where it became a very different situation, and where young people were really sent to their death without really knowing the basics of survival in the air. We're now entering into a world of biplanes. Anna is landing the Jungmann, landing long. And now we are waiting for two incredibly impressive aircraft, Gloster Gladiators.